Okay, we're live. A quick delay there, guys. I do apologize for that. Literally, the laptop crashed right as I was starting the stream. So, let's get into tonight's show. I guess we're going to start off with the right back situation, the ongoing saga and the ongoing story between Man Bissaka, Nazir Mazraoui, and what comes next. So, we've had some updates today, guys, and it does look like both these deals are getting pretty close. Wan Bissaka has agreed personal terms with West Ham. Currently, they're offering £10 million. United want 18 million, of course. They'll probably meet in the middle, around 14 or 15 million. Deal gets done. I think that's pretty basic to think at this point. They're obviously pretty interested. They wanted Mazraoui. He wanted to come to us. So it's like it's a little bit of a triangle that needs to go on, but it will go on. And then, of course, Bayern hopefully are going to sell us Ligt. We will be needing his services because Yoro could be out for up to 3 months as the injury crisis continues. Rasmus Hojlund out for 6 weeks. We got a Rashford injury. We got an Antony injury. And it's starting to look like the same old story that we all seen last season, and I'm sure none of us wanted another injury crisis. Your pre-season is meant to be the time whenever you're going out there getting fit, getting ready for the season, not losing key players for 6 weeks. 8 weeks, 10 weeks, 2 months, 3 months, and beyond. That's not what we want. And look, last season, guys, as you know, and as I'm sure you guys can well remember, we lost out Man Utd and we lost out Amad Diallo for a long period of time. We went in with a really bad pre-season last year. It gave us a slow start in the league. We got a lot of injuries, and because of that, our season probably suffered as well. Not that the injuries are the only thing from last season that was a real an issue, but certainly for me, this isn't a good start to our preseason. This isn't what we wanted to see, guys. So I guess, look, we'll get kicking off of these right back areas. We'll start having a look at Mazraoui, what he's going to bring to the team, I guess, because this is a deal that's about to get done. That's according to Pletigo. He is on the Bayern Munich preseason tour. He does have the green light to leave as soon as the deal goes, and he can depart the tour. So that will be pretty soon. Look, this is Santi as well, saying United have informed Mazraoui that the deal will be finalised. He is currently waiting for green light to leave the Bayern Munich pre-season tour and is continuing to train. So I guess that's good. It means that he'll be ready to start when he comes in. Looks like we're going to need him at this rate, but this is just more frustration, guys, and more issues for us. I've got a load of guys in the comments. I will go to them right now as well, because some interesting comments and some funny ones I can see down there as well. We got Bart. Good to see Bart. He is saying, can't wait to hear Steve McLaren pull off the Jamaican accent. Of course, McLaren still under contract at United for the next couple of days. He will be overseeing the return of international players coming back into Carrington and ensuring that goes smoothly, but then he will be departing to go take on the Jamaican job. Obviously, it's a joke because, as we know, McLaren did a very famous interview when he was the FC20 manager in the Netherlands, speaking English but with a Dutch accent. So who knows what we're going to get. Maybe we'll get some Kingston out of Steve McLaren just yet, but look, he's going to a tropical climate. He's going to go enjoy some beaches, and he's going to go have some fun, I guess, as a Jamaican manager. And who knows, look, maybe Jamaica will improve under McLaren. And certainly, look, they got a pretty talented group of players. Let's see what happens there, I guess. So, yeah, best of luck to Steve McLaren. I think it's probably no real loss to us at the minute because, we've got good new coaches in. We're seeing good positive stories coming out about Van Nistelrooy at the moment. And hopefully it'll work out well for both parties because, yeah, like you always want to see people who have left the club do well. Like, we're not going to wish ill upon Steve McLaren or anybody else. Got Robert down there. He's getting impatient with the transfer. He's been hearing deal close for 2 weeks. And now we're tired of hearing the word close. Yeah, we're getting there, Robert. It's one of those, buddy. It's, when we're operating a sell to buy at the minute like we are because we spent the majority of the initial budget that we had on Yoro and Joshua Zirkzee, it's always going to be frustrating. We were in this position last year, waiting for sales, waiting for players to come and players to go. It took a long time to get rid of Fred. It took a long time to move other key players on. We had youth players leaving for £1 million. So, yeah, definitely think a lot of work still to be done. A lot of busy weeks ahead of us in the market. And, yeah, look, it's not ideal. I'm sure we wanted our business done before this point. It is a little bit frustrating to only have 2 players through the door and ready for Manchester United, and we've lost one of those already in Yoro for 6 weeks up to 3 months, which is far from the deal, but we'll get there in the end. I've no doubt in Yoro's ability that he will hit the ground running. But look, we'll get looking at some of these stories in some more depth. So Pletigal, he writes, of course, for Bild on a lot of the German papers. He's probably covering this from the Bayern Munich side. They're waiting for the Mazraoui deal to go through on their end. And he says West Ham have reached the verbal agreement with Wan Bissaka on a 5-year deal and contract. Still no agreement with Manchester United between them and West Ham. West Ham have offered £10 million. United want 18 million. So it's like I said, we probably meet in the middle, 14 or 15 million. It's not ideal considering we paid 45 million for Wan Bissaka, but since that deal was 4 or 5 years ago, since we are now at that point of the contract, it's paid off. So at least this will go down as money we can add into our FFP. It won't be deducted or anything, which is always a positive. We also have a lot of interesting stories coming out here as well. United starting to look at some of the different some of the different alternatives we could have instead of Ugarte, and we will go through that in a second. I'll go through the rest of the comments. Big up to Luman. Man Utd said, who's to be blamed for the injury? Surely not Bart. I don't think it's Bart's problem. And Nuba says, the new US Tour is a curse. Never had such injuries when we were doing Asia Tour. I would agree with that. Like, I don't really remember us under Ferguson picking up injuries, and I don't know what it is. Obviously, look, other teams are out there as well. Arsenal's out there, Man City's out there, I believe. Liverpool are out there. We're not really seeing them pick up injuries. Is it more a United problem? I don't know. I think the easy place to go to is to blame the quality of pitches. Is that perhaps an issue? I'm not too sure, but certainly something has to be done. We cannot be starting every single season with key players out due to pre-season injuries. We did it last year. Kobe Manu was meant to be a starter from the beginning of the season, and he never got to go at it. He picked up that injury against Real Madrid. Amad Diallo's season was basically put on hold until the latter throes of the season as he recovered from injury. But we'll see how we go. We have Nibus as well putting another comment in. He says United need to bring in Mazraoui, Delit and Ugarte before the City game. Otherwise, we won't be ready for the new season. We've had a horrible start for the last 2 pre-seasons. We want to start the season well. I'm not too bothered about the Community Shield. Obviously, look, my preference would be to win the Community Shield. I don't think any of us want to lose the City, but I'm not going to be upset or annoyed or anything if we do. But yeah, look, you want to beat them. But I think the US Tour leg is starting to come to an end. We play City in, I believe, 9 days. So obviously, maybe another match or 2 in pre-season to go before that. I'm not too sure of the schedule. Most of the matches have been at times when I have to be sleeping for work, so I haven't really been paying too much attention bar the highlights show. But look, there is some interesting takeaways. We can get Harry Amhas looking really good at left back, Amad Diallo playing well on the right hand side. But as we know, guys, preseason doesn't really mean too much. I remember the preseason under Louis van Gaal. He came in, we beat Real Madrid, Liverpool, City, Chelsea. We beat everybody we played, and then we went out in the first day of the season, lost to Swansea. We went out then the next week and got beat 5-3 by Leicester City or something. It doesn't really matter in terms of results. You want to see your team playing well, I guess. That's the main priority, and that's what we've got to be focusing on. And looking for improvements in the structure, in the setup, and the tactics and stuff, where we really did struggle last year, conceding too many shots, having too open of a midfield. Issues like that are really what cost us in the latter throws of last season. So we got to be working towards that. Yarla's down there. We've almost sold as much as we bought. Xerxes was 38 million, but a split over 3 years, so about 12.5 million. Yeah, exactly. I would imagine that is the plan. Look, as we know, we see contracts and we see overall figures thrown about by the media and stuff. That might be the total. That might be with add-ons. That's probably split over 3 or 4 years. Nobody is really out here nowadays paying up entire transfer fees up front, and it's a way to get around the rules. It's a way that we can continue to invest. But the problem United have is that on paper we can spend a lot of money. I don't think this is new to anybody, but on paper we can spend a lot of money. The bad COVID FP years, the PSR rules, they've all reset. Those years where we made big losses have been took out of the books. Since then, it's been small losses or small profits. So we can spend a fair chunk of money in this window. But the problem is, just because we can spend the money, we have to physically have the cash, and that's the issue here as well for Manchester United. It is genuinely a lack of cash in the club to make those upfront payments, to make the first installment of a 3 or 4 year plan. That's the issue that we are facing right now, and it's about how we get around that. It's frustrating because at one point, not too far ago, we had a massive pile of cash sitting in the club. We were holding a lot of liquid money instead of credit, and future payments, etc. And we squandered it. It's a frustration, but it's the way it is. So look, guys, report coming in. This coming in from United stand. I think it might be Duncan Castles or someone who's reported it, but I'm not surprised about this. United now looking at alternatives to Manuel Ugarte. Martin Zubimendi, Joey Veerman, Adrian Rabiot, and Sander Bears have all been subject to varying levels of interest from United. It's no surprise. Look, we see PSG about to sign João Neves. They're looking at paid off for with an Ugarte sale. United do not want to pay 70 million euros for Ugarte. The offers, I believe, are around 35-40. That's a big difference to make up. In the same way where I think we get a deal done with West Ham because it's an £8 million difference, I don't think we get that Ugarte deal done unless PSG really come down on their price. So one to keep an eye out on. I wouldn't say anything immediate on it, but we do need that kind of midfielder in the team. Really important that we do that there. And look, this is where the talk of the loan deals coming in. Will it be an option to buy, an obligation to buy? These are whole new sets of negotiations that we will have to have with PSG in due time. But it's frustrating. We're trying to sell players. We've got players in huge wages who other clubs just don't want to buy, and that's a big frustration for me, because we're basically making players that we would want to sell based on their performance, based on their contract lengths or their suitability to where we're trying to go as a team, and we can't move them on. You look at Casemiro, we're still paying that deal off. We're still paying 350 grand a week. We're looking at Sancho, probably still paying that deal off as well, and we were giving him 250, 300k a week. Maguire's on big money, Eriksen on big money. You've got players you might want to move on a lot of money. Lindelof on like 130,000, for example, is a hard sell. So, these guys are not compelled under any oath, or they're not compelled under any loyalty or whatever to take a move. If it's not suited for them, they don't have to take pay cuts. They've got an ironclad contract that will pay them X amount per year as long as they don't violate the contractual obligations, etc. So it's about how we get around that there and how we start to move these guys on. I guess one player we do look to be selling at is Scott McTominay. Now, there's been talk today of Tottenham being interested in McTominay, but I guess the real place to look at is with Fulham. So according to Romano, £23 million offer put in for McTominay. I think he's worth a lot more than that. They just paid 27 plus 7 for Emil Smith-Rowe, player who he's got promise, but he's been very injury prone over the last while, and his form has dipped. McTominay comes in as a very reliable option for Fulham, a decent player for their midfield. He will bring goals to their team, so I think they should be looking over £30 million for Scott McTominay. And again, look, that could be complete profit, depending on how you do the deals, etc. McTominay is probably more sellable based on the fact that he's on £60,000 per week, and that's affordable for a Fulham. That's more affordable for more teams. Whenever you've got players on the bench, whenever you've got squad players earning 100,000, 120, 150,000 pounds per week, that instantly becomes unaffordable for a lot of clubs in world football. And you're really limiting who can really afford to buy these players, because they don't have to take a pay cut. They'll want some kind of salary, or they want some kind of bonus or whatever for signing, etc. You're limiting your potential marketplace. And if you have players who are not good and who have struggled to perform, why would a top club want to buy them? Why would a rich club want to buy them? That's the questions we need to be asking. So, this is going to be a long project to clear this deadwood out. It's going to be a long-term goal, and to really improve the strength of the squad overall. Going to be difficult to do that there. No doubt about it in my mind. I've got loads of people in the comments. I have Lucky Singh down there. McTominay ready to join a new club. Jarl says we're not getting Delit until Lindelof leaves. No, exactly. That's another one. That deal has pretty much been done in terms of personal terms. Bayern are close to giving us, we're close to agreeing the fee, but we can't do it until we move these players on. That's the issue. Right now, we've basically exhausted the cash supply I think we have had in the club. And what United need to do now, I guess, is try to move players on. Sell to buy always takes a long time. You have to think about it as well. Clubs are going to look at it and go, why would we want to buy Lindelof? Why would we want to buy Eriksen? Why should we buy Casemiro on the wages he'd be looking for? These are the things that it's going to come down to. These are the things that we'll always come back to. It's one thing saying we should sell players, one thing deciding we have to buy them, but we can't physically make another club be interested in our player unless they play really well, or they're a decent player on good wages who United won't have to sell for a lot of money or whatever. That's why your deals get done. If you're trying to sell your players not by desire are, not because some other clubs really desperate to get them in the same way that we went to Lille, we went to Bologna, because we really wanted to buy those players. You're trying to put them out into the market. You're throwing your lure out and hoping someone's going to take the bait, and the deal gets done. But it's frustrating. It is frustrating. I got Gregory down there. In my opinion, we need 2 signings, Ugarte and De Ligt, and we can even try to sign Rabiot. We might do. Nibba said, did we just get played by PSG? That we didn't hijack the Neves deal because we're hoping to do Ugarte's deal in good faith, but now they're playing hardball and want to make profit. Maybe. But I think it's interesting as well, Nubis, because whenever we were being linked with João Neves every week, whenever he was being linked to various Premier League clubs, the price was always north of 100 million. It was always about 100 million euros, 85, 90 million pounds, and now there's talk about the deal getting done to PSG for 70 million euros plus 10 add-ons, and that's about 60, 65 million. United might have pulled the trigger for that price tag on João Neves, but ultimately I guess we'll never know. We'll never know what could have been, what will be with a player, and it does look like he's going to go to PSG. It's frustrating to me. It's an annoyance to me, but it is what it is, I guess. We're going to have to play hardball at some point. But look, we have some more updates coming in on Ugarte. Ugarte is Entourage are confident that he is United's first choice and that a resolution will be found. So they're feeling confident, player side. United's offer to Ugarte had been 42. PSG are constantly saying they will not sell the player at a discount. They want at the very least the £50 million that they paid for him back. So they want the money back. They want to either make a profit or get their money back. The way Ugarte played last season, the fact he wasn't an important player for him would suggest that is a player they're going to struggle to move on. And if they are really set on buying João Neves, and maybe they do have to come down their price. Maybe that's our plan. But we got a lot of a lot of interesting stories out here today. A lot of these are a lot of these do point towards some important moves, and I think this McTominay move might be important. I think selling Lindelof will be important. Selling Wan Bissaka will be important. Getting a midfielder in, getting De Ligt in as well. That'll give us the depth and I guess the quality that hopefully we're going to need. And even at that, you still wouldn't mind 1 or 2 more players, but we will see what happens on that there one. But look, Romano himself saying earlier about Lenny Yoro, he said reports of other clubs pulling out of the race because of the physical condition of the players are completely false. All clubs wanted to sign him. PSG, Liverpool, Real Madrid all really wanted him. United are not worried about his long-term fitness. He's been unlucky with this injury. The medical tests came back flawless on the player's health. But we also have Romano. Fulham new bid, 23 million for rejected. United will be hoping to sell him for around 30 million. So maybe these are deals that get done. If we do get 30 million for McTominay, 15 million for Wan Bissaka, I guess that would probably be split over 3 years or so. Then you're looking at 15 million pounds in the bank. That probably gets you the Mazraoui deal done. It might get you De Ligt in as well, potentially, depending on how much you can get up front. But we will live to find out. So Fresh is down there. It's good to see him. Anyone says Sancho looks pretty chunky for a winger this year? I haven't really watched a lot of the pre-season, bar the highlights. I know he scored last night, but I've just kind of been like, I've got work. Do I want to sit up to 2, 3 in the morning to watch United play a pre-season match where we'll take half the team off after 45 minutes and put the academy players out? Usually not. No, I just go to bed and maybe watch the highlights. But look, I mean, some standout players. I think Amas has looked good from what I've seen. Amad Diallo again looks good from what I've seen, but it hasn't been ideal. Nuba says we missed out on Viper and Onana because we thought we are going to get Ugarte. If we don't get Ugarte, who do we prefer as our number 6? I personally, for me, I think Zubimendi's a far better player than Ugarte. My issue with Zubimendi is I'm not 100% sure how buying players from La Liga works, because it's very different. You have to go to La Liga themselves, trigger out buyout clauses. Nearly every player in Spain has them, so it's about dealing with that, I guess. But yeah, it's an interesting one anyway. I think you might see some surprising sales, etc. But De Ligt, according to Graham Bailey, has made it very clear he only wants to join to Manchester United. Bayern Munich are happy with the player to go. So these are all deals that will get done, I guess. It's just frustrating. We're waiting for these couple of sales to go in for a Wan Bissaka, McTominay, maybe a Lindelof, and then the dominoes will start to fall. We maybe move 3 out, we maybe bring 2 or 3 in. I think that's going to be the waiting game that we're on at the minute. It's not a case that United are out here not talking to players. It's not a case that United are out here struggling to get deals done, and it's not a case that a lot of these reports are simply being made up or being fabricated, or that is lies. It's very much a case that we are waiting for the sales to go through to get the cash to complete the incoming deals. Because seemingly, look, we've got a deal done for Mazraoui, personal terms agreed, fee agreed with Bayern, personal terms done with De Ligt, almost got a fee agreed with Bayern as well. And I think, maybe look as well, midfield wise, where do you go? Do you go to Zubimendi? Do you go to Yusufa Fofana? Do you go for a free agent in Rabiot? There's questions to be asked there. I'm sure that Toby Collier's performances in pre-season, which seem to be pretty decent. He does seem to have been a player who's kicked on quite a bit in this pre-season. I'm positive that's going to come into thinking as well, and he might be involved in the squad for the upcoming season. But it's frustrating just to see injuries coming out. It's good to see Amad Diallo playing well. We need threat on that right hand side. Another goal in another game for Amad, and hopefully he can keep that role going, because I don't think we got a lot on the right hand side. Antony, I don't think is good enough. I know Garnacho can play there, but he prefers the left. I know Sancho can play there, but prefers the left. So in terms of genuine natural right wingers, you got Antony and Diallo, and for me, I think Amad gets a chance. He's surely going to get a chance at some point in this. At some point in this season, I think this might be the breakout season if he stays fit, if he does manage to get minutes. Because look, it's basically now or never for Amad Diallo. It's not like a Garnacho or a Kobbie Mainoo where he's a teenager. Amad Diallo's 22 years old. He's never really had a consistent run in United's first team. It's got to the point now where it might be now or never. This might be the season that defines his United career. He could find himself sold if he struggles to make that impact this season. But I think we're going to roll with him. Chase is down there. It's good to see Chase. Thanks for joining in, buddy. Yeah, look, we've been a little bit inactive in the last week or so. Had a really, really busy time of it in work, and then haven't been feeling too well. Had to pull out of the agenda show last night, but we'll be on there tonight as well. Nuba said, do you think Amos and Collier are ready to be back up? I think it's interesting. I think Collier's maybe more physically ready. I think Amos has got really good technical skills. I think he's got really good ability as well. But I think maybe just physically not quite there yet. I think he's either 16 or 17. I think if you bring Mazraoui in, you got two right backs who can cover at left back, and I think that's a big thing that we might rely upon, because Dallo played there a lot last year. Mazraoui plays left back for the Moroccan national team, because Hakimi's on the right hand side for them. So you've got players there who can do that job, and that gives you coverage. You have Luke Shaw probably as your first choice. You got Malacia. We don't know what's happening with him. It's a question what's going to happen with Malacia. Very, very unclear as to how and when he'll ever come back. Will he ever be the same player again? I don't know, because he was signed to be the backup option. But I guess it's one of these, like, I hate saying the term, I hate using the phrase, we'll just have to wait and see, but I guess we do. That's just the nature of injuries and comebacks from big injuries like this. Good to see Andrew down there as well. So fresh, I hear Amak will leave if he doesn't get consistent first-team football. I'm not surprised, because, look, it's like I said, he's 22 years old. He's kind of at that point now where he needs that consistent first-team football. When you look at how little we've got on our right-hand side, Antony, it's not good enough. Sancho, huge question marks over Jadon Sancho. Could still go. We thought going into this window he would be sold and that he should be sold, but we haven't managed to move him. So I think whenever you look at it from that point of view, it's like Amad, he's got a real opportunity here. He's got a real chance to establish himself on the right-hand side. Lucky says Manchester United will agree a 13 million fee for Wan Bissaka. Hopefully, we get a little bit higher. I think if we want 18 and they want 10, then ideally for us, it's 15, but it'll probably get done in the middle, around 14. I reckon that's a fair enough. And Andrew says, is reality beginning to catch up with United already, or are we going back in the cloud, Cuckooland before the season starts? I like Cuckooland. I like going into the season with optimism, because it's always the hope that kills you. But we'll maybe reserve judgment, I guess, because I haven't really watched full 90 minutes, and I think that's always important when trying to make your assumptions and your judgments on where we're going. But the injuries are a big concern. 4 injuries in 2 matches in America, not a good start. Really not a good start. And I guess on top of that there, you look at the fact we've only got 2 deals done at the minute. I know it's not our fault. I know that we have the deals in place to do, but it's just a question of getting the cash in to actually pay them and get it over the line. That seems to be the big issue that we got at the minute. It's all cash, and it's frustrating. So Fresh, do you think if Sancho leaves, like we'll have a similar situation to Ronaldo one where he does interviews? I mean, I don't really care. Like, Jadon Sancho should be one of the best players in the world right now. I think his word carries a lot less weight than what Cristiano Ronaldo's does or did. But ultimately, Ronaldo went out to get himself sacked at United, and that's what he did. So, it is what it is. Robert says, was the PSG and Sancho true? I think it was true, but it's one of these. It's like, this happens with us all the time. You don't just go after one player. You have a short list of players. You maybe have like 5 or 6 players that you want. And if a short list gets out, then they're going to link all the names and make different stories. Because why have one story when you can have 6? It's going to say it could sell 6 times as many papers or 6 times as many clicks online. And that's what they're always being concerned about or worrying about and looking to do. So, it's just one of these ones. It's like Sancho might have been on the list, but he might be bottom. He might be the very last one they go for if they can't get like Kvaratskhelia or some of the other players they're after. Andrew says, bad luck or physio department? I'm thinking it's bad luck. I'm not too sure. Like, we've overhauled the physio department. There's always been question marks over the training. That might be coming into it. I'm sure luck comes into it as well. I don't know though. I think the Yoro injury is definitely a case where you're like, yeah, look, maybe this year is genuine bad luck, because that's an annoying injury to pick up. I think the Hojlund one's concerning because it was his first match of pre-season. He lasted 15 minutes before he pulled his hamstring, and now he could be out for up to 6 weeks. Like, that's concerning to me because he should be fresh. He's just off the Euros. He's come back from holiday and he's instantly got injured within the first 20 minutes of the first appearance in pre-season, and that's not a good start at all. Andrew said, really want Tony Chalobah, Branthwaite, Zubimendi. Still think we're going to have the money for it. I really don't. I think Robert said, when will Maguire leave? Not this season. I can't see it this season. Maybe next season. She said, Romano said at the beginning of the week it was going to be an active and busy week, but it's today and nothing has been done. Yeah, I think we're just waiting for these deals to go through. It's so frustrating, guys. It's like, if anyone's ever been buying or selling a house, it's like, if you're waiting to buy a house but you need your house to sell first, it can take ages to get that done. By the time that the buyers get a mortgage in place, or that solicitors and legal representatives get in place, you pay all your duties, you go to the bank, you do all this. It takes a long time. It's frustrating. It is very frustrating. Andrew says, looks like too much legwork. Yeah, I don't know. I'm just hoping it improves. Do you think this Arsenal youngster will be challenging Hojlund for a first team place? No, I don't. I know we signed Obi Martin, but I can't see him starting for United. I really can't. 16 years old. I know he's really talented. I know he's really good. But I think what we need to do is just temper the expectations. We had Charlie McNeil come in, who had scored something like 600 goals in City's academy, up to and including the under 18s, and then started off well at United, but then ultimately he picked up injuries, some bad loans, and it's completely derailed the player he might have been. So I think, look, you just got to temper the expectations. I wouldn't expect him to be in the matchday squads for a while. Xerxes the backup. Xerxes going to be the guy leading the forward line into the season if he manages to stay fit, because Hojlund will be out for the next while as well. And I have Nubis, United will sign another striker, or they're going to let Cheeto become Xerxes backup. I don't know. We could play a false 9, I guess. We kind of did that towards the end of last season anyway. Those matches, we started almost with McTominay or Bruno up front. Towards the end, we might go back to that situation if Xerxes needs a rest or whatever, but we'll find out. Robert said bench is still waiting for Maguire. I think Maguire will play a lot this season, I do, because I don't think we can rely on Lisandro Martinez to be fit and available all season long. And at the minute, we haven't got the lid in over the line. I think Lindelof's going to go. So I would expect Maguire and Evans to be playing quite regularly, at least at the start of the season, until we get Yoro back. Maybe we get the lid in as a signing, and maybe that pushes them down the pecking order. But they're definitely going to play something. Who's my favorite co-host on the agenda? I'm not going to pick people. They're all really good guys. Although I will be on later on. I think it's just me and Mr. B doing a show later. So tune in for that if you guys can. So Fresh, were the injuries last night serious? Haven't seen too much. I think that's the problem. It looked like Rashford went off limping and Antony went off as well. DK Wilson says playing on a grass surface covering fake turf is a big no-no for many athletes who don't regularly play on it. Yeah, and that could be the issue. I guess the same question we would ask then is why are other teams not picking up the same injuries as well? What injuries have Arsenal picked up, or Real Madrid, or Liverpool, or City? Why is it our players? I think that's an issue. How can I not say Dora? Oh, Dora is great. Like I love being on with Dora, but no, I'm not gonna pick people. I'm not gonna pick people. I like everyone on that channel. Like honestly, I mean, what is my thoughts on Mazraoui as a player? I like him. His injuries concern me a little bit, but I think I think the problem is with Mazraoui is potentially injuries and availability, but I don't think he's going to be coming in as a starter in that case. If he does start to pick up knocks, you still have Dallo there as your first choice right back. He's good in possession. His overlaps are good, a lot better than Dallo's in terms of those runs. So it might help whoever's playing on the right wing. It could be if it's Amad Diallo, then Amad maybe cuts in, Mazraoui makes the overlap. These can be runs and sequences maybe we work towards building. But I'm not too sure though. I'm not too sure. We'll see how he goes. Apparently Yoro was training at 50% to keep him fresh before his injury. I don't know. I really don't know. Unless we're actually there and we're privy to that information, I guess it is kind of speculation. But it's frustrating. It is what it is, though, guys. Look, we've done just over half an hour, guys. I think we're pretty much through the list of things I wanted to go through tonight. We will be doing some more shows over the weekend. I will be on United Agenda at 9 o'clock with Mr. B. So, make sure to tune in for that there if you guys can. And I'm not sure, maybe a Monday will be on as well, but I'll find out later on. All right, guys, thanks so much for tuning in. Make sure to tune in at 9 o'clock as well if you can. Really would appreciate it. Thanks so much for turning up tonight, and I'll catch everyone in the next one.